everyone, thank you for joining us. It's March, and we're just starting back again because we are now hitting the year mark, the year. We started last year, April 7th, and we're so grateful that you're here with us. As you can see, we're at our favorite place, and we haven't introduced ourselves, have we? It's okay. We're if you notice that we're kind of still we're still novices at this, so we're so happy that you could join us, and we are so grateful for all the support for the entire year so far, and we just want to say thank you. And what you're about to see is a compilation of our videos of what we have done so far for our year, and it's our playlist with regards to our relationship, as we share a lot about ourselves and what we are about in terms of what we said we were going to be about in terms of the intro video that we did on our porch, remember?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and you had a lot to say. What did you say that we were going to be doing, remember?
No, it's been a year. No, I barely forgot what I had for supper yesterday, let alone a year ago. I know we talked about, just wanted to touch on a few things like that we were going to do, that we were going to discuss, talk about all things relationships, more specifically Christian relationship, because we're both God-fearing people, and we would like to bring that as the primary foundation of who we are and what we stand for. So that would be certainly something that we would be discussing. And of course, we both travel on our Harley-Davidson across North America, so that's videos for that. And plus, we like to talk about nutrition and health and fitness and so on and so forth. So I know those are some of the things. Do you remember anything else?
Well, yeah, and then we said that we were going to share, things that pertain to us as a couple, and even on our journey while we go for walks, and we were going to take you with us as we walked and so on, and we actually did what we set out to do. So I hope you have enjoyed this year with us, and it's just this month we're just recapping. That's why we said it's an experiment, because we're just recapping what the year looked like for the last 12 months. And we're so grateful again that you have been there with us. And yeah, so enjoy what you're about to see after all this intro here. So that's what we're just sharing with you today. So I hope you have enjoyed our non-edited versions, because even if we make mistakes while we're even trying to express ourselves, we have not really edited them. We just left them the way it is, and just kind of give you like a raw experience of who we are and what we're about. And that's basically it. So enjoy. And do you have anything else to say, sweetie?
No, just yeah, I think I mentioned it when we were making the bike video.
Yeah, so that was for a different playlist. So yeah, this one is more of our relationship, how we have, started out and where we are today, and and what you see is authentic. We are not hiding who we really are. We're just showing you this is us. As there's a sitcom with that, right? This is us, and you get to see all the drama, all the sort of dirty laundry to an extent.
So I don't know what video she's making when I'm not around, because there's no dirty laundry.
Yeah, we kind of did when we were in the truck. We talked about, we and that one was like hanging our dirty laundry a little bit. We went into a lot of like extensive information that sometimes some people would not dare talk about. You don't remember because you were driving.
Yes, I don't know. But we are coming up actually in July 1st, when we go start our 3-week bike tour this year, which will be our literal wedding anniversary, our second wedding anniversary. So
can you imagine, guys? It's
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So maybe our infatuation will be ended by then. So then we will decide.
It's not going to end. I'm still infatuated with myself. I'm amazing. I'm not. I am absolutely amazing.
Guys, you see what I have to put up with?
Yes.
He's infatuated with himself.
I'm in love with 3 people: me, myself, and I.
Okay, so I guess I married 3 people.
So it's
He's
we're having
schizophrenic.
a 5-some.
So what is
I
that?
don't 3. I don't know.
So then
3 of me and 1 of you. That's 4. See, I can't even add. Oh no, but I'm outside that person. So yeah.
Oh,
So it's like 3 on the end. Okay, this video's gone to heck in a handbasket. We're done here. We're done here. Cut it out. All right. But anyhow, all joking aside, yeah, we're going to be celebrating our second wedding anniversary in July 1st to be exact. So you guys will be sharing that with us too, because we'll have lots of highlights from that as we start our trip in July to go visit my brother. But anyhow, all the different videos for those who want to follow along on our bike tour.
Yeah.
So that's all we have to say.
Yeah, and as usual, we'll just say,
let's keep it real.
Let's keep it real. We started that and we are ending with that. Bye. Hi everyone, it's Mich
And Mark.
and we are in the US somewhere.
Not somewhere. We are in Ohio. We are on a technical work/vacation. I was in both because my lovely wife is accompanying me while I go to work. Where am I working? I'll show them where I work. I drive a truck. We are on I-75 going south towards Cincinnati. We're on our way to Alabama. We have 9 deliveries on the way to Alabama. So my lovely wife decided to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. She wanted to come celebrate her birthday, which is today. Happy birthday, baby. She's 67, clearly. And so, and 3 days, in 4 days, we are celebrating our 2-year anniversary, not being married, but from knowing each other. We met each other on November the 15th, 2022. So telling all, and every year my wife likes to take a week off to celebrate her birthday and have some quality time with her family and friends. Because that once a year, her job really good lets her do that. So enough said for me. I gotta focus on the road because I think I'm going straight. I better hold on. Okay, yeah, I'm going straight. All right.
Yeah, it's been fun and we had a very interesting night. We were in Keene, Ohio last night and we could say it early this morning because we arrived about 1:36 to be exact a.m. And my first time on a road trip in a truck. So we haven't really gotten to 24 hours yet. And let me tell you, everybody, last night was fine, but because it was raining as we approached Ohio, like we went through Detroit. We went through Sarnia's border, and then we drove through Detroit, and from there we went through Ohio, right? From Detroit.
We went in Michigan, yes.
Yeah.
Came into Toledo, entered Ohio.
Yeah, so anyways, so when we arrived, it was nice, we were like, woohoo, it was like seamless in terms of the journey, and our time at the border was very nice and smooth.
Tell them who we met last night.
We met a nice man at the border.
No, but just before the customer, we got a what you call it? We were making our turn off the road, and unbeknownst to me.
Oh yes, Mark was stopped by a cop.
Well, technically speaking, yeah, because I was obviously in a tractor trailer. You just can't go anywhere you want to go, and of course I was on a little skinny road that was kind of basically a residential area, and the kind officer was coming at me like as if we were going to do a head-on collision on purpose. That I was rounding a curve on a side road, and he basically met me and stopped, and he basically just said, and where might you be going at 1:30 in the morning on a residential street? You're not supposed to be going down. And I went, really? And I go,
something about, did you think that you were going to pass me? Or
Yeah, he was, but he was making a joke because the corner that the tight corner that we had coming around wouldn't allow us, because I'm in a large 75-foot vehicle. So obviously I need to take up most of the space. So as I rounded the curve, he was
blocking us.
He was blocking me on purpose just because he wanted to see what I was doing on the road. But he was fine. He was a really nice, cordial officer. He was just laughing, and he goes, "Yeah, just go up the little street you're going to, make a left, and the factory's right there." He goes, "Next time, go on the state road." Not a really good idea to go on a little road like this, but I'm in a good mood. So have a good morning.
Yeah, so he didn't charge Mark.
No, there was no real charge.
Yeah, there was no. Yeah,
but he just.
But yeah, but you should see. I saw Mark's face. He was, like a little boy who would think that they're going to be in trouble or may not know what the situation will be, the outcome, and he was just walking, bobbing his head, and it was so cute.
I was actually walking with confidence, because I tell you, in the last 32 years, that's not the first police officer I've ever had to deal with. So I wasn't walking. I was walking humbly, because I don't want to approach him with a sense of
arrogance.
Arrogance, or like, what's your problem attitude. I don't want to get a beat down at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't think I want to do that. So you go just give him his proper respect. So according to him, he said, and I quote, "What are you doing on this road? Because the only 2 people in this city that are awake are me and you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And we weren't in a city. We were in a small little hillbilly town called Deaton.
No, Keaton.
Keaton?
Is it Keaton?
No, it's Deaton.
Oh, it's Deaton. Oh.
It's basically Deaton. It's a little town about half an hour west of Dayton, Ohio. Anyway, I've set it up. I gotta focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah, there's a street called Hamilton Liberty Way. That's cute. Yeah. Anyways, anytime I see my surname, I'm always like, ooh, there you go. Oh well. Anyway, so after that escapade with us coming down the stretch or on the corner to get to the place that we were heading to, we ended up at this the company where we were staying overnight. So I was like,
there's a speed trap ahead.
Okay, there's a speed trap ahead, so we gotta be careful. Anyways, so this was like, I was celebrating. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna be able to go to bed, and our bed is back there. Anyways, and we're gonna be cool. So before we actually went around the bend, there was a train coming across the street where we were gonna stay for the night. And unbeknownst to us, we didn't know that was the first of the rest of the trains that were going to be passing by on along the side where we were staying. So we went to bed. I'm like, yeah, it's my birthday and I'm happy and stuff. And I forgot what time it was in the morning.
When we got there?
Yeah, no, after we settled down and everything.
By the time we settled in there, I think it was probably closer to 2 o'clock.
Right. And so here we are, County, Ohio. So, guys, I heard the first train. I'm like, okay. You hear toot toot. I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's nice to hear a train on your, as you're about to sleep. And then I heard another train. Bum, toot toot. And I'm like, okay, second train. Then I heard a number 3, number 4, and I'm like, oh, are we gonna hear this all night? And I was like, now I was getting frustrated. And then Mark is like, sweetie, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. But in my mind, I'm thinking, am I gonna get any sleep? Because it's almost like the train was right beside us, right? So you can imagine you're feeling the vibration, and then you have different size trains.
Yeah, we were right beside. We were literally, well, not lit. We were probably within proximity, maybe 20, 30 feet from the railway crossing. We didn't realize that because there's all kinds of trees shrouding the factory where we were sleeping.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that, but oh yeah. Let's just say it was like the 401 all day long.
Yeah, and then I said, Lord, I need to sleep. I can't take this. And I was crying inside. I was like, I can't take this. I was crying inside, and he goes, it's okay, sweetie. But he didn't know I was feeling that way. I said, Lord, I can't, I need to sleep. I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. That's a temple. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, it's mosque.
a mosque. Yeah, anyway, and finally, I don't know, ever since I did that little temper tantrum experience,
Yes.
then I don't know what happened, and then we normally sleep on a certain side, right? So originally, because of the way the bed is situated, I was sleeping on the inside because he says, oh, I have to be your protector to make sure that you sleep on the inside, and then he sleeps on the outside. But because in our regular atmosphere, I always sleep on the left side of Mark, right? So, and he sleeps on my right side. So because here I was sleeping on his right side, it felt awkward. I don't know if it's like that for you guys as a couples, how you sleep on the side of the bed, so if you're, it's like a normal thing for you, like when you go to sleep, if you do that when you're home, and then when you go to like a hotel, or if you're going somewhere else, do you sleep on the same side that you normally sleep? Do you mimic what you do at home, or do you just sleep wherever? So at first we were just doing it based on his recommendation, sleep on the inside, because I'm your protector, da-da-da. But that didn't work because I was not feeling comfortable, and it wasn't comfortable for him either. So I ended up being the protector of the night. And I slept on the outside, which was on his left side, which is where I normally sleep. So, and as we did that, as we did the change, immediately I had a good sleep. I went to sleep right away. So the moral of the story is, don't make any changes. Even when you go out, do the same thing, mimic the same thing. If you are used to, having a good sleep that way, it's best to just do the same thing. And normally what I do too when I go anywhere, I like to bring my pillow. I forgot to bring my pillow, but I made it work because I don't like very thick pillows. It gives me a headache. So, but I noticed that because I changed my pillow now.
In 2 miles, take exit 16A for I-275 East toward I-71, Columbus.
Yeah, that's just a GPS. So I try to mimic what I do at home. But I noticed something. I changed the height of my pillow lately because they said your pillow is supposed to be, especially if you're lying on your side, it's supposed to be the width between your head and your shoulder. Otherwise, your spine is going to be tilted, and that's not good ergonomically when you're sleeping. Otherwise, you're not going to be having a proper sleep, and over time, you're going to have pains in your back, shoulder, stuff like that. And recently, I had a tendonitis issue between my shoulder and my arm, so I had to change my pillow to more of an ergonomic kind of pillow. So yeah, so it wasn't that bad last night because his pillow is a little bit close to what I was using recently. So yeah, so that was our first experience, and that was the eve of my birthday. But so far it's a beautiful day. It's very beautiful, very sunny. And as you can see,
in a half mile, take exit 16A for I-275 East toward I-71, Columbus.
yeah, and I actually feel like I'm in a an airplane with all the controls. Look.
Take exit 16A, then use the right lane to take the I-275 East ramp.
Yeah. It's a lot. I'm gonna learn how to navigate. I'm gonna learn what these controllers do. So we're on the Cincinnati.
Use the right lane to take the I-275 East ramp.
Do you hear the sound of that?
Continue on I-275 East for 5 miles.
That's a man driving a trailer, which is over 75 feet. That's huge. When we were coming around the bend of the truck, because we made a stop at the truck stop in, I think it was, where were we? London, near to London last night.
Oh, you mean at the service plaza?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Woodstock, near to London last night. And that was my first time walking around the truck. And I kept walking and I thought we reached the side of the door already. And I'm like, we still have more to go. I couldn't believe how long it was. So it's really long. I mean, I could do a sprint. I could do a sprint. I don't know how long it's gonna take me. I could do a race alongside the truck, a good sprint. I hope I can still sprint. Yeah, and it would be just suffice. Yes. So yeah. So that's a little bit of synopsis of our little excursion so far on the day of my birthday, and so far it's really nice. I'm enjoying myself out on the road. I get a new appreciation for what it's like when my husband said he's not getting a lot of sleep and whatnot. So I now understand. I definitely probably wouldn't last that long if I was out here, because I would probably cry. Because if I don't get proper sleep, I'm a miserable person. I mean, nobody really noticed it, but inside
Now she knows why I'm always miserable. She thought it was just I had a bad personality.
Yeah, I know that. I know he has challenges, and when you don't get proper sleep and then you have to drive for hours, it's not easy, and you have to concentrate on the road. You have to do all that, because you're not just driving for yourself, you're also driving to protect other people as well. So I do have a new appreciation for what it's like on the road. Yeah, so this is just a life.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, this is just a day in the life of Mission Mark on Michelle's birthday. And thanks in advance for those who have already said happy birthday and who have not yet said happy birthday. Thank you.
Alright, we've got this video going way too long. Let's cut it out.
Yeah, it's not way too long because he's not doing anything. We're just sitting here and we have to drive for like...
I'm not doing anything, just drive.
Exactly. Yeah, so anyways guys, thanks again always for your support and your love, and we will be showing other videos as we go along. Anything fun, we're going to show you the countrysides. This is just a highway right now, which is not that much interesting, but just kind of like giving you like an intro as to what we're about. Always doing something different, and I don't know how many people you see driving in a truck, but I like it. I like the adventure. So far we had the road trip in the car, road trip on the bike, and now this is the road trip on the truck, in the truck. So yeah, so as we always say, let's keep it real. Bye. Hi everyone, it's Mich.
And Mark.
And we are currently in Tennessee, and it's the city called Portland, and we just passed this bank called the Farmers Bank. We just found out that it's been around since 2012.
No, 1912.
Sorry. I love 2000. Yeah, so it's been there since 1912. And you know, in my head, I'm thinking 1912, but I don't say it. But anyway, thanks for the reminder. Yeah, so it's a very grassy area. You'll see. Beautiful. It's bright, and I think the weather is what, 15 or something?
No, it's 9.
Oh, 9. Yes, which means it's colder than yesterday when we were in
mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
We're on this highway 109 because we are taking the western side of or the eastern side of Nashville because we don't want to go through Nashville. It's rush hour. If you look on your GPS, it's red. So we're going along that side road that's going to give us an alternative route to avoid Nashville, and then we're going right into Alabama.
Front of the hood of the truck, and it's so long. And it's a good view. Looking from higher up, you see everything. Yeah, we have a little, I mean, like I said in the other video, it almost feels like we're in an airplane where in the cockpit with all these controls. I'm still waiting for my lesson as to what all these are for. There's only one that I can identify, which it looks like a fuel gauge that shows, I don't know. Yeah, it shows maybe
the scenery here, beautiful.
The amount of gas or fuel we have, or it's diesel, right? Yeah, so diesel. Look at this view.
This is all part of making our way into the Smoky Mountains.
Everything from a different perspective. It's, as I said in the other video, it's one thing to be on a motorcycle, but it's another thing. Do they cut the rocks to open the road?
Well, yeah, this is all from when they dynamite.
Oh.
They build the roads and they blow stuff out. That's why it's cut like that.
Oh, wow.
When they were originally building the roads, they dynamite all the area
to open up the road.
Open up the roads and stuff.
How did they cut it so nicely?
Oh, I don't know where I'm not. I mean, they blow stuff up and then maybe smooth it out or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, a lot of times you see the area of.
I'm sure they have special machines that come by and make sure they cut the side of the rock out smooth or whatever.
Yeah, it's amazing when you see these rocks and you see it on both sides. You know, to think back in the days, people would, you know, as he said, open it up using dynamites, and then we're able to travel through, and we take it for granted. You know, the privilege that we have today where we can just drive through and we don't even think about what it took for those in the past to get it all nicely smooth and open up for us to drive. So it's cool.
In half a mile, slight left on the Old State Highway 109.
So in central Canada, we have Eastern time.
Well, just in Ontario, Quebec, we are on Eastern time right now.
Right.
I think.
But
And we are now on Central time in this part of the country, the United States.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes we take for granted also that Canada has its own time zone in different areas.
No, we don't have our own time zone.
Different time zone.
We follow the grid for all of North America. When you look at a map of North America and Canada, we all follow the same patterns.
So when we go to different provinces, for example, the eastern side, like Newfoundland or Nova Scotia, they have different
Yeah, they have Atlantic time.
time. And Vancouver,
They have Pacific time.
right. So
And then
they're,
Alberta, they have Mountain time.
yeah, I'm still trying to convert all that. Because sometimes, especially if you have meetings, like Zoom meetings, and they say, okay, we're meeting at 7 o'clock. I can't remember which time 7 o'clock it is. Is it my time? Is it their time? And how do I convert that at the time that we have the meeting? So these things are still always tricky. And to be frank, even persons who are born in that area always get it wrong. Not always, but a lot of times they get it wrong because they're always confused between the time, and sometimes they miss meetings because they're saying, oh, I thought it was Ontario time, or I thought it was our time. So it's always tricky when you're trying to come together, within a time frame. So here we go.
See that sign says Hendersonville? Just missed it?
Yeah, I put it there.
Hendersonville is where a lot of country celebrities live. Johnny Cash used to live in Hendersonville.
Here it is again. So Long Hollow Pike.
Yeah, Hendersonville. That basically just takes you just outside Nashville. That's where Johnny Cash used to live.
Oh yeah, those people who country singers.
Yeah, they live all around Hendersonville, Brentwood, all those areas, right on the Cumberland River.
Wow. Oh, here we have also Henderson Gallatin.
Henderson.
Yeah, those are areas that I'm not even familiar with, but I'm learning as I go. Yeah, it's fun here. And so he presses this control here, and
Turns on what they call a Jake brake or an engine brake. It just basically, in technical terms, it retards the engine, so it slows down the timing of the engine, so that way I don't have to use my brakes. A lot of the time you hear that sound, so it slows down the timing, and by downshift, it compresses. It's basically a compression brake is what they call it, or we just call it Jake brake because that's actually a brand name, but that's basically what it is.
yeah.
So I use it a lot. To minimize braking, because that way it saves on my brakes, and if you use it strategically, you don't have to. It's kind of like downshifting on a motorcycle or in a car. You just kind of take your time with it, and it'll treat you well if you use it correctly.
I think you do a similar strategy when we're going down the hill on the harley-davidson.
Well, that has no engine brake, but I downshift for sure.
Yeah.
Use a lower gear.
To save on the brakes.
And for anyone who's interested, this is an 18 speed. It has 5 lower gears, and it's really heavy, and so that way you can get real. That's why they have these switches here. See these switches? There's another switch on the side, a silver button on the side.
about the shifting. As long as you get out of your first gear, you're good to go. You just listen for the car, the engine, and then you can move through gears. Now we take it for granted. I don't have a gear stick vehicle right now, and I've been driving automatic for like 31 years. Wow, yikes. It's been a long time. So I forgot how to drive a stick vehicle, but I'm still waiting for my reacquaintance. Yes, not a truck, but like a car. Yes. So I'm gonna reacquaint myself with gear stick, perhaps for winter or something. I don't know. We'll see. And guys, when you see how the vehicle turns, you know, he has to line up the back to make sure that the back can, you know, make the curve. That's why you have to make the curve or the turn so wide to ensure, because otherwise that's what you see sometimes when people make sharp turns. They don't line up the back properly, and then the back ends up on the side of the sidewalk or on the curb. So yeah, that's so important, you know, to have good judgment skills. So where are we now?
We are the other side of Gallatin, Tennessee.
Yeah, so we're still driving now in Tennessee, and
Yeah, we will be for a while.
so a little bit of recap of where we started. So we started coming through from Canada. We went to Sarnia, which is the border.
Across the American side is called Port Huron.
Yeah, and then, oh, look at this. So we get a little bit of nice view sometimes. Anyway, so we started at the Sarnia border.
We're
big flat inside the truck stop where, you know, I don't really see that a lot in Canada. So it's just amazing how, you know, the difference between two countries.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what happens. This guy cut us off a while ago. It looked like, oh my gosh, we almost ran into him. So these are things that happen, and you know, the thing is, people don't realize how hard it is because you can't break down. You can't gear down, I mean. So it's you only have just that much time to hit somebody when people, you know, and you know, sometimes we take it for granted how it is in terms of when people are driving in front of a truck or behind a truck. You have to be so careful, because when you get to see how hard it is to gear down and to, you know, maintain or sustain your speed as a truck driver, you just take, you have a new appreciation for it. So with all those persons who like to take risks, you guys need to pay attention to what you're doing, because you don't want to live a short life if you can avoid it. Because you're not going anywhere if you get hit by a truck. For sure you're going to get damaged. So yeah, so that's basically a little bit of insight. Yeah. And by the way, it takes a lot of patience to even drive in a truck like this, because everything, you have to use a lot of judgment, and you have to be careful, because you're not thinking about yourself alone, you're thinking about others around you. So yeah, so that's it for today.
And as we always say,
Let's keep it
real.
ciao. Hi everyone, it's Mich.
Hey there, hi there, ho there. This is Bullman Bob with the sounds to get down. Oh, sorry, that's a big radio. Hi, it's Mark.
Forgive
It's foolishness.
or add or insert. What normally happens, like when people do like something like they a plug-in. Sorry about the plug-in.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, a plug-in is when somebody's doing something that has nothing to do with what's happening right now.
All right, sounds good to me.
Anyways, guys, we just went to get some snacks or whatever you might call it. What time is it now?
It is our time. It's 10 to 1. It's 15 minutes outside Montgomery, Alabama.
Yeah, so it's 10 to 1, which is, you could call that about lunchtime, right? And we went in to get some, you know,
We went
like
to go for a
extra
pee and
stuff.
grab a coffee.
I beg your pardon?
I said we went for a pee and to go grab a coffee.
Oh, yeah, we just had a washroom break. Anyway,
Sorry. Oh,
so
washroom break.
yeah. So, anyways, guys, you probably watched our other video when we went to Newfoundland, and I said that was the best chocolate I've ever had. Hot chocolate, yes, and it tasted like literally chocolate. Now, we went to the truck stop. It's called Pilot Coffee.
No, with Flying J. But
Sorry,
but
Flying
no,
J.
but it does say Pilot because
Yeah.
it's the same company.
Yeah, so basically, from what I just found out, Flying J owns Pilot, which is another truck stop. So they manufacture the cups, and it's labeled Pilot. So yeah, so I guess it's the same product as Mark said. They all carry the same product, which makes sense to make it standardized, so you don't feel like you're getting a different kind of product, even though you're going to different locations. They try to keep it centralized. Anyways, if that's possible. But
Can I show them my large?
so that's
This is what's your medium? Up. Show them your medium.
so this is medium.
Right. This is my large.
Yeah. So you see the difference? And when I say medium, I thought I saw the cup only up to where the red mark is, and then I saw the more parts of the cup coming out. I'm like, oh, so there's more inside than what was there showing on the outside. But anyway, the hot chocolate is amazing, and I must say it's wonderful. And we just want to shout out to Hershey's hot chocolate, and also to Flying J, who supplies all these nice stuff for me. And by the way, another thing that I'm learning is that truck stops are so I would say facilitating. I was never of the impression that it would be so nice and clean there. So far we went to the Pilot, we went to the Flying J.
Well, but there's just a side note. There's a reason we do that. First of all, because I have when I get fuel for the truck, and every time I get fuel for the truck, I insert a credit card in there from the company, and I also have what they call a points reward system. So for every 50 gallons of fuel I buy, I get a free shower. So in other words, that's how the truck drivers get showers and stuff. So you don't have to pay for them. Because if you walked off the street and just said I want a shower, it'll cost you almost $17 US for a shower. Same thing in Canada. You have to pay for the showers. But if you get fuel, it's free. So anyhow, having said all that, that's where I normally stop and get my fuel, and of course their coffee, because actually their coffee, they have all these gourmet style coffees. It's not just your standard coffee in a machine. They have gourmet, like mine's called you know those fancy machines you have, like say at Starbucks and all that stuff. Well, they have them. I get organic Sumatra. I think it's an African blend. It's a dark roast, so it's awesome. Anyhow, that's why we go there, and that's why I stop there. There are more truck stops than just Flying J Pilots. There's Petros, there's Loves, there's Quick QT, there's Speedway. There's all kinds of different ones, but the best ones, generally speaking, are the top three. Top four. Pilot, Flying J, Loves, and QT. We stayed at a QT this morning, that's where we parked this morning. They were in a really nice. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, so, and also one of the thing I wanted to commend these truck stops on is the fact that the shower system is amazing. I was thinking that it's gonna be some maybe dirty old raggedy place.
No, she actually told me, do we have to go stand out back with an old man with a garden hose and he sprays us? And I was like, no, that's not how it works.
Okay,
And she thought that.
guys, do you believe that I would ask that?
Did. She thought I was an old, dirty old man standing there with his tongue hanging out going, all right, get undressed.
Listen.
Or as they like to say, if anyone watched Silence of the Lambs, they'll know what I mean. Pull on the lotion. You know what it is.
But anyways, the funny thing is I had no idea what to expect, and I even brought my slippers, my water, beach slippers, so that I could protect myself, because I didn't want to get anything on my feet, because I didn't know what to expect. So anyway, but the funny thing is, when I found out how it really is, I was very impressed. I thought that they really have a good system in place, and as soon as you go and use the shower, you see people ready to go to clean it up for the next person. And I guess it's always in demand anyways, because you have to get a ticket in order to, first you have to book a shower, then you have to get a ticket, and you can do it in advance, and then you get a ticket.
They have a cool, sorry to interrupt you, they have a cool app, obviously to keep up with modern times. Years ago, what we had to do was literally just take your bag, get your fuel, walk into the place, and say, I want a shower. They go, okay, here's your shower. They used to give you a key, or they'd say, sorry, they're being cleaned right now. We'll have to wait. Now it's done through an app system. You just literally go on the Flying J app or the Pilot, and it'll say reserve a shower. You just click on the tap on reserve a shower. It'll say either A, you're next in line, or immediately it'll give you a code, and you go to that. It'll say shower 2. Shower 2 available. Here's your code, and you use a key code to get inside the shower, so that way it's no mistaking. And of course, you don't walk in on someone by accident, and they don't use a key system, so there's no mistake you got to go. And yeah, years ago, it wasn't like that. Just all joking aside, years ago, you'd be lucky if they cleaned the showers once every 3 days. I mean, it was just nasty. So you just had to use, hence why you would wear slippers. Now, no, 99% of them, they're all literally like you're going to a really nice hotel.
Yeah, it's actually
really nice.
good. I mean, I must say that it was very clean, pristine, and you know, like even the way it's set up, all the amenities in there. Even they have soap and stuff. They give you towels.
Oh, show the people there. We're coming up on the QT truck stop right now. For those who've never seen QT, it's right there.
Yeah. So
you're going to see the overhead sign.
Yeah. So if you look in the distance, you can actually see
Where it says QT.
where it says QT.
That's a truck stop.
Yeah.
That's a big chain.
Yeah. So there it is.
And there's another one to your right. TA truck stop. That's another big, huge one.
Yeah, over there to the right. If you didn't get to see the QT because of the truck, it's limited. It's limited. So yeah, if you can see that. So usually it's very tall. A tall.
There's my favorite. Home away from home.
Yeah. So you can see that.
Yeah.
TA,
That's
Travis
a huge truck
Center.
stop. Show them the trucks.
So you have all the trucks in the parking lot, and you can see the TA sign, right?
Yep.
So yeah, so it's interesting learning, you know, about these different facilities that are available for persons who are on the road all the time, and it's good that they have that because, you know, if you're not able to like book a hotel and do all that stuff, I mean, it can be very costly, and then it takes away your income while you're on the road.
Did you show them
You
where
don't
we
want
sleep?
to do that. Not right now. It's not paid up.
Oh my God, they don't care.
Yeah. Anyways, we sleep in the back, but I'll take you around and give you like a tour of the inside another time. But yeah, and we also got some cinnamon.
No,
Cinnamon. Oh yes, cinnamon. And I'm gonna show you what it looks like on the inside. It's amazing. Look at that, guys. That's gonna go in my tummy. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm actually breaking him because normally he doesn't eat that kind of stuff. So I'm having,
I do.
and
I
it's
eat
nice
treats,
and
but
warm.
I generally don't eat.
It's nice and warm.
I don't eat carbs generally during the day. I don't eat carbs pretty much at all. I just eat I'm more of a carnivorous lifestyle. Just meat and vegetables. Because when you're out here just sitting in the truck for 15, 18 hours a day, I don't need all those extra carbs. And just all you do is that's how I stay lean and stay relatively in good shape and so on and so forth. So I don't want all these extra carbs, but I do treat myself. So you know, I'm on vacation, so I have an excuse to pound down the carbs. So my wife is officially corrupting me.
Yeah, I was just giving you a close up of the physique. He was saying that he's very lean. He's very. He said he's very lean and he's in shape. So I had to give you like a close up. But yeah, he actually is very, very in shape, and I'm pleased with that.
Well, I go and work out 2 and 3 times a week, coming home and all that stuff too. So you match all your work is done at home. All the work, majority of the work, obviously, is done here and this is my kitchen per se. So if I meal prep and all that for the week, Michelle often helps me and get my meals all the week. I don't eat in truck stops. Don't get me wrong. I'll eat my thing is the Waffle House, but just to qualify that, so people know I don't go in there and have all the greasy foods and all bunch of stuff. And I usually go in there and I literally just have my proteins and fats. I'll have like scrambled eggs and pork chops, and I don't have any carbs. But when I want carbs for the day, I'll have some hash browns. So that's it. But anyway, long story short, that's how I maintain out here and maintain good health and eat. Because when you're just sitting here like this for 15, 16 hours a day, clearly I'm not getting any exercise. So it's a good remedy to get fat and get overweight. And that's why most truck drivers are overweight, because they're just eating garbage and eating on the road. And just overeating, constantly eating. So, anyway.
And actually, we were just looking in the truck stop. We saw posters posters, and one of them had said a dad bod, and you can actually see the guy stretched out with the big.
Oh yeah, you know the one. What she's referencing is that truck drivers. I don't know if truck drivers started it or whatever. The picture of the shapely girl with the hourglass figure and it's shiny, and they put it on their window or put it on their mud flaps. Well, they have one that says, for a joke, it shows a guy with a gigantic beer belly and it says "Dad Bod." So that was funny.
So it's kind of like an example of what a typical dad looks like. Oh my gosh, look at this car right here. Yeah. So it's really interesting how they have these facilities out here for like drivers and stuff. So they live in a very
very isolated, right?
It's isolation, but at the same time they have good facilities, so that even though they are on the road a lot, they don't feel like they're missing out, because they have a proper place. Well, I would say to an extent, somewhere proper enough to sleep, and then somewhere proper enough to refresh themselves. And when they go to customers, they don't have to look all raggedy and dirty.
No, they still look raggedy. It's just some guys are nasty. Let's call a spade a spade.
Well,
if anyone knows a truck driver, they always have a when they see me, not to boast, but when they see me, they're like, I got delivery. They go, who you? You're a truck driver? Oh, that's not what the last guy looked like. And like they have this vision of a guy whose hair is all disheveled, or he's got the typical comb over with the 3 strands on top, and he's 450 pounds. That's the way he looks. Kind of like that, or whatever. I mean, I'm stereotyping. I'm making light of it, but you get the point.
So he doesn't look like that, obviously. So
I'm not making it about me. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So it's nice that we have all these, facilities to help them. Because think about it. What would truck drivers do? Guys that go out. I mean, I'm blessed where I don't go out for weeks and weeks and weeks on end like some truck drivers. Some guys don't even go home. They're living in their home. But for the most part, a lot of, especially American truck drivers, one thing I will tip my hat to the Americans. Unlike Canadians, not all, but most Americans, they'll stay out for a good 6 to 8 weeks. These are married men with families. They'll stay out for a good 6 weeks, and then they go home for home for 2 days and go back out and do it again for another 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Canada, that generally doesn't happen. You got guys who just stay out for the week, whatever. Or if you're running a team, you might stay out for 2 or 3 weeks. But for the most part, Americans I'll tip their hat. So you can imagine what it's like. So it's good that we have all these facilities out at night, and we should. We're the backbone of the country. We're not the only people that keep the country running, but if you think of it from a commercial perspective, you eat, you get water, you get food, you get electricity, you get all these things that are manufactured and made. I mean, everybody plays a part in the long food chain of the commerce chain. There's no one person that does it all, but let's just face it, if there were no truck drivers, the country would stop.
Yeah.
Again, not to elevate us like we're some celebrity style status. No, not at all. Because even the girl pouring the coffee, the person unloading the truck, the guy pumping your gas, to the girl serving you at Starbucks, to the person serving you at Walmart, we're all part of the same chain of commerce, and we all need each other in that sense. So thank God we have people to do menial jobs. Thank God we have people to do semi-menial jobs like driving a truck. Thank God we have people like Michelle's, people in the corporate world where you're doing administration jobs and so on and so forth. There's something for everyone. So I'm grateful. I don't care. I'm not someone who's arrogant and full of myself. I don't think I'm anyone special. When I go in to buy a coffee from Tim Hortons, I'll get a coffee, and I'm happy. And I appreciate people who work hard and do their jobs, and I appreciate the fact that what would I do without the girl at Tim Hortons? I'd be lost. I wouldn't get my coffee, and I couldn't do that. So it's all part of. I'm grateful that we have the entire cycle from the most menial job to the most premium job. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. So as we said, it's something that we have to really become cognizant of in terms of when people are on the road and getting into these kind of situations where if they didn't have the facilities, it would be a mess, and it's all linked. And also in the sense of what Mark was saying, we're all linked where we are providing each other services, because similarly to those persons who are providing services at a truck stop, then you have those who own those companies grateful that we have a job that is critical and also crucial for the well-being of the overall community and society at large. So it's definitely something that is worth thinking about. And I just want to say shout out to all those truck drivers out there. Shout out to the truck stops that provide such good services and goods like this wonderful hot chocolate.
Yeah, a truck driver had to bring the product. And on that note, I'll say this much. You know, I know I've been at this job for almost 32 years. And you know what? Not this job specifically, but trucking in general. I've been at it for almost 32 years, and all I'll say is this much. Granted, like everybody in every part of the world, there's bad people who are examples. Yes, there's horrible truck drivers out there, horrible examples, lots of them. But everybody would come to the same, what's the word I'm looking for? Same conclusion, pardon me, that majority of truck drivers are great drivers, and especially seasoned people like myself. So, you know, next time you go to the grocery store, don't just think about the butcher cutting the meat. Think about the truck driver that had to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to get loaded, to come to make sure that it's at the market for 5 a.m. to get unloaded, and he's got 10 more stops along the way. So he's just part of a greater food chain. But next time you see a truck driver, know that it's not as just some easy job holding the wheel like I'm just sitting here looking at the road. Life is grand and perfect. I mean, we're up fighting all the horrible weather while you guys are sleeping soundly in your beds, getting to get up and face the corporate world tomorrow, while you get up and have your frappe, la Pacino, or Starbucks in your car, and you drive 5 minutes, and then you go to work, you go home. You know, I've been up all night long driving, delivering, so you can have your frappuccino at 5 when you get up in the morning. So again, it's not about me, it's about the greater good and the greater picture. There's more people involved. So when next time you think of a truck driver, try to think positive and be appreciative of the fact that that's one of the major components in the backbones of our country, and that goes for all people. Again, I know everyone's got a story. Go, yeah, but you don't know the truck driver that I saw on the road. He was horrible. He cut off people. Yeah, and truck drivers kill people with their falling asleep at the wheel. People do all kinds of shenanigans. But then again, if you look at the majority report, truck drivers are only 2.4% of all accidents annually on the highways. Granted, so it's the same thing. And cars, the most lethal accident happening is lane changes, improper lane changes with cars, and that's a fact. But I say all that just to say, remember to thank a truck driver, no matter whether it's a local guy, the gas guy. Remember, you get your gas, you go get your car. How do you think that gas got there? I dropped off your gas. I delivered your gas. It's that simple. It's everyone's part of a greater good. So be appreciative of the person pouring your coffee. Be a person of the little person at the cash register taking in your products that you buy from Walmart or from the butcher shop or from wherever, and be appreciative of everybody, and maybe be a little more considerate. You know, we all have a tendency to be in a rush and have to have everything our way, and are often impatient and look down our noses at people because our needs aren't met at that right moment. So it's easy to get self-absorbed. So try to think of the other person, and be appreciative of the blessings we have in North America and how freely we have it. Remember, and I leave it. I'm not standing on a soapbox. I'm being serious. We don't have quote unquote third world problems. When's the last time you had to get up at 5 a.m. to walk 3 miles to get a bucket of water so you could bathe, or get a bucket of rice to feed your family?
And look at this. You have people out there working in the cold and in the snow and all that, and they're out.
Yeah, construction guys. We hate construction, but guess who are the guys that are on the construction routes at 2 o'clock in the morning doing road work so you can have a smoother road? Yeah. I mean, we could be here all night. It never ends. So try to be more open-minded and appreciative of your surroundings, and be thankful for all the blessings that you have and all the things that are going on behind the scenes.
And you know, yesterday when we were driving down I think we were coming from Tennessee going down to Alabama, but we were driving through like Birmingham and stuff, and we were looking at persons outside picking up the garbage and what they
Oh
did.
yeah, the road crews.
So they were picking up the garbage, putting the garbage in black garbage bags, and then another truck came and picked up the garbage bags, the full, garbage bags that were already full to capacity because the other guys filled them with the garbage that are on the roadside. And I was thinking about that, and I was saying, wow, I mean, yes, granted, we shouldn't be littering the place, but if there was no garbage, then there would be no jobs for those who are picking up the garbage and for those who are driving the vehicle that picks up the bags that were already full. So I was thinking about that as, the chain of reaction or the chain of action in terms of services or goods that are being, generated for others to be able to fend for themselves and their families. So it's a lot to think about, and I mean, I know it's a far-fetched kind of perspective in terms of you shouldn't be littering. That's true, but if we don't have garbage, then we won't have garbage men, or garbage collectors or crew workers. So but I don't mean that you should go ahead and litter just because there are people there that are available to pick up the garbage, because it's really nice. And if you look, you see how clean the environment is. That's because
And look at how nicely cut the grass is.
yeah, it's nicely groomed, very nicely groomed, very nicely groomed and cut. And someone is doing it. It's not happening by itself. But this is why, as he said, be appreciative of those persons who are going the extra mile, doing those jobs that are not necessarily the most favorable, but people look down on them because they think that they're better. But there's nothing such as better, because we're all interconnected. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about. I know it started on, the coffee or the hot chocolate, but it's really a good discussion in terms of us having a better appreciation for each other. And look at that view down there. That is so nice. We're heading towards Birmingham, and you can actually see the roads over that side. Look at that. Hilly, like small hills around here. guys, that's our little talk for today in terms of our
Little. We've been talking for half an hour straight.
well, both of us have had our
I couldn't get 2 words in edgewise.
okay guys, you can time how long Mark spoke and how long I spoke, and then you can make your own decision on that. He's so ridiculous. He does, you know what, I must admit, he did say one time that he doesn't have a good sense of
In a
time.
half mile, take exit 181 toward Wetumpka.
Yeah, he said he doesn't have a good sense of time, so I forgive him for thinking sometimes what he might think is 5 minutes. It's actually 20. Anyways, yeah, so anyways, there's
Take exit 181.
there's another joke there. So anyway, this is where we're going.
In 1,000 feet, turn left on Alabama 14 East.
Yeah, I really like it down here. It's very nice, and the
At the
weather,
light, turn left on Alabama 14 East.
and the weather is very
And every exit has a wall.
Oh yes, I noticed that. It's a big thing here, Waffle House. I don't know if you can see it. And every exit has a Waffle House.
In the south, at least.
Yeah.
Not up north.
So a lot of people, I mean, especially the truck drivers, they do love it. And I noticed it is very close to the truck stop as well. But I like their meals.
Yeah.
I always have like a standard meal. Like I have, because I'm not really big on carbs, but what I do, I try to balance everything out.
Isn't she the one who just got cinnamon?
I didn't eat it yet. I'm just waiting until
And a hot chocolate?
I'm waiting until we sign off and I eat it.
Sign up. I'm not really big on carbs. Hold on, I gotta get my Cinnabon and my hot chocolate.
Anyway,
there's
guys,
2,000 grams of carbs right there.
It's okay. I'm on vacation, so I'm allowed.
Yeah, you're funny, baby.
But the thing is, what I was trying to say at a Waffle House, what I try to do, I don't have the
Baby,
hash brown.
I have to interrupt you. I think we should change our phrase. We always say this, let's keep it real. I think we should change it to do as we say, not as we do.
Yeah, but people can tell your lifestyle based on.
Babe, I'm just playing.
Yeah, people can tell your lifestyle.
You're funny.
The way you portray yourself tells what kind of things you do to sustain yourself like that. So, or not always, but for the most part. But yeah, so I usually have like I like to have my, by the way, on a staple, I like to have my water in the morning, then I have my tea, then I have my fruits, then I have other things. But because I'm on vacation, I can't really do that. So when I go to the Waffle House, by then I would have already had my water and my tea, and I have green tea. So the amount of water I have is like 500 milliliter of water.
Continue on Alabama 14 East for 13 miles.
Maybe I just want to let you know.
Which is like 2 cups of water in the morning, which is very good. The first thing, having water is like washing off your stomach after you sleep and whatnot. That's what it does. It washes off your stomach.
Who doesn't want to wash off their stomach?
Because
it washes it right off.
No.
Look at all the grease got on.
whatever.
It washes out your stomach.
Well, inside your stomach, washes it out. Wash it out.
And maybe can I interrupt you just one more time? You said I had no concept of time. Maybe 10 minutes ago you said this is the end of the video.
I know, but we
now
always
you're
do
still
that.
rambling. No.
It's okay.
Hey.
So then after I have my green tea, which is about the same amount, which is 2 cups of green tea, which is like 500 milliliter of green tea. Then I'll have like maybe 3 or 4 fruits. I'll have my orange, because I don't mix my my acidic and my subacid and my sweet fruit all together, because usually they say don't mix your sweet and acid fruits. So if you're gonna have fruits, have your acid with your subacid, or your subacid with your sweet. And if you don't know what that means, you can look it up. So for an example, orange is an acid fruit. Orange or pineapple, those are acid fruits. You don't eat that with banana, because banana is a sweet fruit. You can have apple. Apple goes with orange, because apple is a subacidic fruit. So then that's kind of how I eat. So I eat my surprised because you have like 6 scrambled eggs.
Yes.
And people are like,
It's
huh?
nature's vitamin. Why
But,
wouldn't it? I had 10 eggs if they
Yeah. But he has a lot of eggs and it is hash
I
browns.
just have high protein, high fat, low
Yeah.
carbs. That's what I eat.
So that's what he does anymore, which keeps him also lean. So and that's really commendable, by the way. So and also it fills you up in a way that you don't really have any urge for.
It's all about insulin. It's about maintaining insulin balance. So I'm not a carbophobe. I love carbs. Who doesn't love carbs? I mean, carbs are amazing. I balance my carbs because carbs raise and lower insulin.
Yeah.
But when it's not raising and lowering insulin isn't necessarily acutely a problem. But when you have insulin that's chronically elevated all day long, in other words, you're eating. I'm just making it up. You know, for breakfast you had all these carbs and fats and everything together. Then 2 hours later you have your frappuccino, and then 1 o'clock comes around, you go and have lunch with your friends, and again it's skyrocketed. And then you have chocolate chip cookies at 3 o'clock before you go home from work. Then at 6 o'clock you go home and have supper. You see the point? Your insulin's doing this all day long, and that's why most people, let me rephrase that, that's why a lot of people become obese, a lot of people become pre-diabetic. It takes a long time over your life. I'm not saying that if you do this in a weekend you're going to get diabetes, but I am saying that having your insulin chronically elevated is not good for you. So I just eat the way that I do. I'm not suggesting that's the way for everybody. I do use carbs. I use carbs strategically. When I work out, I kill the carbs for sure because it helps drive the proteins and glucose.
It provides fuel.
Yeah, fuel. I don't need fuel. I work out fasted, so I don't eat anything. I go in, I have a pre-workout, and I go in, and I just come back in and I kill it. But anyway, I'm rambling anyway. But that's why I eat the way I do.
And also, carbs makes you have the urge or the desire for more carbs.
Yeah, really. Michelle's making a good point there, and that's the point. It's a known fact that if you eat a high level of carbs, and by the way, when I say carbs, I'm not referencing vegetables. I'm talking about highly processed carbs. Meaning
like this.
You eat. Well, no. Eating it in isolation is far different than
eating too much of it like this.
Having this, then 2 hours later, having a gigantic bowl of pasta, and then supper rolls around, you have a big, huge, massive bowl of rice and mashed potatoes. That's what I'm talking about. Highly processed, highly refined carbohydrates. I eat whole foods, and for the general sake of it. For the most part. Anyway, I'm just saying that's what I do to eat out here and stay lean on the road. I just stay lean year round, and Michelle does the same. She doesn't eat a whole lot of carbs. She generally, I tried to help her when I first met her to eat a little bit more protein. She certainly, in my estimation, is not eating enough, but she's certainly come along the way, and she's been compliant that way. In essence, to help herself, she realizes that she wasn't, and it's super important. Protein is the key. But anyway,
as you age, also it's good for your skin, and it's good for retaining your muscles and stuff like that. So it's definitely good, and especially for dinner, we have a lot of. I like the idea of having protein with my veggies, whether it's a salad or maybe like broccoli, carrots, stuff like that.
Oh, can I just interrupt for a moment? Just for everybody to know, we're joking around, and like all joking aside, we're talking. We went to the Waffle House to go get something to eat or whatever it is. But the reality is, if you want to know I have a fridge built into my cab. You want to know what I have in the fridge for food? Literally, this is what I made for Michelle and I. We have several containers of ground beef, several containers of chicken thighs with the skin on it. For all you naysayers that say eat the skin and kill you.
Chicken legs as well, I think.
Sorry?
Do we do chicken legs?
No, not chicken legs this time. Oh yeah, I made chicken thighs, and I have 3 or 4 different containers chock full of steamed veggies. That's it. We don't have any bread. We don't have any treats. We don't have any snacks.
That's why we end up getting this.
We treat ourselves in that sense. There's nothing wrong with it. Michelle, and by the way, the truth of the matter is, we forgot Michelle's fruit. I'm not a big fruit guy per se, but Michelle loves her fruit daily. So nice thing about the truck stops is they have all kinds of fresh fruit everywhere. You can buy cold fruit. You can buy like the standard banana, apple, that kind of thing, whatever. And Michelle gets new basically fresh stuff every second day. We just buy enough for a couple of days, and then we just replenish it. That's all we got. We don't.
Yeah.
That's the key. We don't have any nuts, snacks, seeds, breads, no heavy carbs, no anything, no mashed potatoes and all this stuff. We just got
But
veggies.
we occasionally eat it though.
Oh yeah, no, we have
Because
a.
if we go to Moxie's, we'll have, if we're having.
Oh no, I'm just talking about
steak
here on
and
the
stuff.
road.
Okay.
Like yesterday, we went out. We took Michelle and I went out to have a nice dinner out. We went out to actually, if anyone familiar with the States, we went to the Cracker Barrel. I had a double portion of meatloaf. Michelle actually had a double order of fish. She had grilled trout. So we
Very
eat good.
nice.
Yeah, we eat good, and it was nice. And I had some corn, which is really nutritionally bankrupt, but it's good for the colon and cleaning out your small intestine. So I have that with some mashed potatoes. That's it. And then to treat ourselves, we had a piece of pie. That's
Apple
it.
pie.
Yeah. So that's what I'm getting at in regards to our radar. Now, do we have that every day, 5 days a week? No, we don't. The food we have here in the truck is what we eat, and that's the way you do. You have to, if you have certain fitness goals and health goals, you have to have a ground zero plan on how to eat daily and keep that routine. If you're eating all over the map and constantly snacking and so on and so forth, you're going to get yourself into some trouble. And as I referenced earlier, you'll end up chronically elevating your insulin, and that's why the diabetes epidemic is absolutely just that, an epidemic.
Yeah, so that's something that we talk about and we had in common when we met. We were happy the fact that we are on the same page in terms of our diets. We don't really have we could say it's like we are aware. We're not like stringent, or we can't have this ever or that ever, but we just try to keep it modified and try to stick to it on a regular basis.
We're what they call flexible dieters. I don't jump on, like I said, I personally, Michelle doesn't copycat mine. Michelle is the opposite of me in the sense where she eats a lot of fish. I'm not a big fish guy. I will have it periodically throughout the year, but very rarely. She's big on fish. She loves salmon, all those kind of things, and she loves it when she has some steamed veggies and all that. I'm a carnivorous guy. I like animal protein. I pretty much eat that, but we're flexible dieters. I mean, we don't. One of the tricks, and I'll leave you, and I'll say this because maybe this will hit home for some people. One of the things we generally don't do. We have done it a few times in the past, but we know not to do it in the general sense of it. Is we do not stockpile snacks at home. We don't, especially stuff we know we can't control ourselves in eating. Like who can buy a bucket of chocolate covered almonds and just put it in your cupboard and not eat them?
Yeah.
Very rarely. They're just one of those things you're just wolfing down. Even Michelle, as healthy as they were, she used to love eating cashews, but she doesn't sit down and have 12 cashews.
Yeah.
She'll eat half the bag, and that's like 2,000 calories right there.
Yeah,
And
those are some of my
Me
weaknesses.
too, and I
love nuts.
Yeah, and I have my things too. Like a big thing for me used to be I can't get enough of cereal. I love cereal. I'd buy like the mini wheats, and I'd have 4 bowls of mini wheats. I can't stop eating it. It's just too good. So we do not stockpile things. Odd time we'll get a box of ice cream bars or something, but again, we actually buy these yogurt bar, frozen yogurt bars. They're 90 calories per bar. So
we get it from Costco.
Yeah, so even if we had 4 bars, it's only 360 calories. So we're not going to eat 10 bars in a sitting. So my point of saying all that is, one of the biggest things is do not stockpile snacks at your house, especially stuff you can't eat. Why? Because you shouldn't be eating 5 and 6 times a day. It's just that simple. A couple, maybe 3 times maximum. You should be getting your maximum amount of protein and carbs or fats, and whatever you suits you. And when I say carbs or fats, like if you like a baked potato and veggies, that's your bag, great. If you're like high veggies, a couple, whatever, you like a little bit of cauliflower, that's your thing, great. But there's no high fat, there's no perfect diet outside of the fact that a maintained diet that you can sustain, that maintains blood sugar. It's just that simple. That's one of the key factors that helps you sustain your weight or lose weight or sustain your body, your lean mass, and go. That's why I'm sitting out here. Think about it. I'm sitting on this truck 5 days a week, 6 days a week. In reality, I should be 300 pounds. But why am I not? Because I'm amazing? No. Because I'm making disciplined choices in order to that. I know that I'm not snacking all day. Why? Because I'm literally doing nothing. Nothing. Even if I were to eat bags and bags of vegetables, why am I eating all these empty calories that are not really going to do much for my body? Because I'm idle. And that's just the facts. So that's why when you have a sedentary job, it's difficult. That's why you don't bring. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent or whatever. But that's you wanted a brief synopsis of what we do, what we eat. That's basically, and I eat the same foods all the time, and so does Michelle. Rarely do we get off grid. Where if someone came to our house, they would be bored by the food we eat. We don't have much. Michelle's a little bit more eclectic when it comes to things she likes. She certainly likes. I'm boring. I'll be honest. My diet's boring. I don't like a lot of things. Michelle likes a much more larger variety. But when I say a larger variety, I'm talking about good things. She loves different types of fish and seafood and like that kind of thing, and different kinds of dishes and all that kind of stuff. And
maybe I like a little bit more spicier type of food.
Yes, she loves Jamaican food, obviously, which is spicy.
Yeah, but I know it's not good for your stomach to eat that all the time as well. So I'm very flexible in terms of my choices, and I stick to, maybe a generic type of food most of the times. And another thing people probably wouldn't know this about me is that I love Italian food because I like the sauciness of it. Like I like a veal parmesan. I love Caesar salad. I love that sort of thing. I love pizza, but again, I don't eat all these kind of foods all the time, right? I don't eat.
No, I was just thinking. I had a thought just come out of my mind, but go ahead.
Yeah. So as we said, we just kind of keep it, modified.
And even Michelle the other day, as a treat, and it really is a treat, and that's the difference. We don't sit down and order a 12 or 14 slice pizza because we are, number one, Michelle for the most part can probably eat it all. I don't eat it as a glutton.
That's a weakness. I love pizza.
That's what I was making a point with this is that we don't do that. So the first thing when she came up with me was I said to her, when we're getting the truck stop, this one truck stop was famous for making really good standard pizza. So what did she do? She bought barbecue chicken pizza.
In a quarter mile,
But she only bought 2 pieces. That's it. Yeah, they're relatively larger slices, but she only bought 2. We didn't buy an entire pizza.
And I didn't eat anything else for the rest of the day.
Exactly. So see, she what is the word I'm looking? She balanced it.
Yeah.
And that's the key point. That's one of the things people try to live. They live such a lifestyle or try to live a lifestyle that's not sustainable. Like people who say these words, I'll never eat pizza again. It's bad for you. Pizza's not bad for you.
It's
not
much?
It's what's bad for you is having an entire 12 slices of pizza and doing it almost every day.
Yeah.
That's a horrible lifestyle, but treat yourself. Your body is amazing. It'll thank you, and it knows how to adjust its balances. Have some enjoyment. Everybody knows a glass of wine is nice, but do you need to consume an entire bottle every sitting?
That's not good for your system anyways.
Of course it's not.
And as the Bible says, whatever we do it in moderation. So again, there's some things that may work for you and some things may not work for you, but if you do, just do it in moderation. So yeah, that's kind of more advice and kind of like an insight as to what we do, how we eat, and especially the life of a truck driver.
Yeah, and I'll be the first one to tell you a life of. And by the way, seeing here, not to be so I'm not being Mr. Self-righteous. I've been out here 32 years. For about the first 20 years of my life, I lived a wretched lifestyle when it came to nutrition. I should be 350 pounds. I lived every day. I was going to the truck stop, eating chicken fried steak, and I would get 10 cans of Dr. Pepper a day and drink that, and gosh, I'm surprised my teeth haven't fallen out. I lived a horrible lifestyle. I lived the quintessential lifestyle. So by God's grace, I have decent enough genetics and metabolism that at least at that time, I didn't get to 300 pounds because my metabolism, my genetic wouldn't allow me. But I say all that to say,
But he's
I
very
was
energetic, so I think that also
that too, of
plays
course. Well, that's part
a
of the
role.
firing. But the key factor is that I still wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
To this very day, I still struggle with all kinds of digestive issues, all kinds of gastrointestinal issues, and I think it was caused over the horrible lifestyle that I had and was living. I lived a horrible. I was eating greasy chicken fried steak, and I would get up in the morning and literally pound down 6 or 7 Dr. Peppers, and then late in the afternoon,
Subways.
oh gosh, yeah, Subway meatball subs, and then what I would do is I would drink soda all day and sweet tea, and then guess what? At summertime, this is back in the day when truck stops were different, I'd hit the buffet, and guess what I would do? I would load up on the buffet, then load up on 10 desserts when I'm done, and I would literally go to bed in a carb coma. I literally would go to bed in a carb coma, and I'm not lying to you when I say it, it's no exaggeration. There were nights where I couldn't even barely roll over on my side because my gut hurt so bad because I overate, and because of my bad eating habits, I had bad bowel movements where I wouldn't go for 3 days. Why? Because I'm so backed up of all the nastiness, and that what I just described is the average day of a truck driver in the general sense of at least when I started trucking, and it still shares some value even today.
And
That's why truck drivers look the way they do.
Yeah,
because
they have bad health problems.
Bad health practices. This job, it's not conducive. You have to really go out on the extra mile to really make
They don't
the effort.
exercise either. So
No, we don't exercise. I mean, I exercise, but that's because I generally do it. But that's
In
why
half a mile, use
that's
the
why
middle
when
lane to
you
turn
see
left
truck
onto
drivers,
US
people always say,
231 north.
"Oh, they're just fat guys eating and drinking, smoking." No, that's not true. Not true. A lot of them don't do that. The reality is that a lot of them just overeat because you're constantly eating. Because what's the worst thing people do? So you don't have to stop at truck. They go, "Oh, I'll just reach down here and eat that bag of Ruffles that I bought at the truck stop, and eat a big gigantic bag of Ruffles along with my large Dr. Pepper." And they do that, and that's what they do. And you do that every day, 7 days a week, and then you wonder why they have heart issues, overweight issues, all of those things. And that goes, and I'm just using truck driving as an example, but there are people who live that lifestyle on a regular basis.
yeah, even people who work
Live in a
the
corporate world.
office,
Sure.
it's bad because you're not moving, you're not going anywhere, and sometimes because you're sitting in one place doing stuff. And for me too, I find that when I'm sitting, using my mind, my brain a lot. I mean, obviously you use your brain and everything, but when I'm doing excessive thinking, I tend to get hungry a lot. Especially when I used to study, I got hungry a lot. I don't know why. I feel like my brain sucked up all the nutrients, everything that I ate, to the point where I felt like I was literally starving all the time. But that's just a habit thing too. Like once you get hit the desk, you tend to feel like you're hungry because you know how the body it goes into that habit of just doing the same thing repetitiously. So whenever you do certain things, naturally you're gonna have certain desire, you're gonna have certain craving. Just like if you're watching TV, naturally you probably grab a snack, you might grab some popcorn, you might grab some pizza. It's a natural thing that you do because certain things go with certain things, right? So so that's one of the things we want to share, in terms of what it looks like for
Continue on US 231 north for half a mile.
a typical truck driver, as well as others out there who are
Prison for women.
experiencing. Huh?
Prison for women.
Oh wow.
No, not there. That's not it. But
Oh.
it just said right there the sign ahead.
Oh.
It's a Tutwiler Prison for Women.
Oh wow. Okay. So that's a mouthful and a half and more. For us sharing a lot of stuff, and now that we're driving and having an opportunity to share, we just wanted to share all of that with you. And I hope what we have said helps somebody, because we always say we're keeping it real, but we also want to help others too, because you never know, what we have said probably stimulated you.
Alabama 9 north.
Probably stimulated you some way or another. So we hope that may have happened. Alrighty, so that's all for today. And as usual, we say,
Continue on Alabama 9
Do
north
as we
for
say,
2
not as we
miles.
do.
let's keep it real. Okay, ciao guys.
Bye.
Bye. Wow.
lady at the gas station we stopped to use the restroom, and she says the locals, it's spelled with a T, but the locals don't use the T, they use the N. So if you want to be politically correct, you got to say Aniana. But I don't think
Take
it's
the next right to stay on US 231 North.
I don't think it's grammatically correct.
Yeah, it's just an accent, and you know, I said in response to that, you never tell someone how to pronounce their own name.
Continue on US 231 North for 1 mile.
That was a good cutter.
Oh yeah.
Somebody just cut right in front of the truck. Yeah, so Aniana, interesting name.
The way it's not.
Oh yeah, it's up.
No, now it's up. It wasn't up.
Okay. Yeah, so
I was just telling you to roll it up because you can't hear yourself in the video.
okay. So we are heading to
We are going to a little town called, I don't even know the name of the town. I forget the name of the town where we're going. Just for doing another pickup. I have the GPS, it's in the GPS, but I don't know the name
it's
of it.
Alabama somewhere.
Alabama somewhere Alabama.
In a quarter mile, turn right to stay on US 231 North.
Yeah, so it's interesting how names of places, when you look at it, it doesn't look like how it sounds. Just like, for example, Chinguzi, right? Chinguzi, there's no way
Take the
to
second right to stay on US 231 North.
there's no way to figure out how you pronounce Chinguzi when you have so many letters that are not even pronounced. So it's kind of like that. Aniana.
Continue on US 231 North for 25 miles.
So here we have a lot of hills, as you can see. It's very hilly.
Oh, tell them about your experience last night.
Okay, so what happened last night? So let's talk about it. About last night. So many things happened. Where do we start?
No, our experience in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah. Which one?
That's for an entirely different video for when it's age appropriate.
Yeah,
No,
our,
we're just
videos are not for
joking.
kids anyway.
No, we're just joking. No, we went to bed. Let's just say we went to bed around 12:30.
Yeah.
Around 1:30, I just felt we were at a truck stop sleeping, and I felt the truck just rock, and I'm like, what is going on? And I'm like, I know from experience what that means. Michelle does it. That means somebody just hit us, and we were parked in the slotted areas for trucks, and sure enough, and of course, unfortunately, it was pouring down rain, and I opened up the curtains in the bunk, and sure enough, a guy backed right into the side of the mirrors of my truck, and I know he did, and he was outside in the pouring rain looking at it, and he didn't know I knew because he looked and saw me looking out, and then he looked at me, and then just kind of gave me the thumbs up, like, oh, is everything okay? No, it's not okay. And then I opened up the window and said, you hit the truck. And at first he wasn't adamant, but he said, I did. I was like, yeah, you hit the truck. You ran into my mirrors, and mirrors on trucks are collapsible. They fold in like this, like you would on a pickup truck. You can fold the arms in. Well, the same thing on the truck. Well, he hit it first this way, but when he tried to correct his distance, he pulled out, but they caught the corner of the trailer and pulled it out, and it pulled the arm out that way. And that's what we woke up to at 1:30 this morning, and then he started to get a little bit more hot under the collar and saying, you know, I was trying to rip him off or whatever, and saying I made it up. I was like, no, I mean, look at my mirrors. I mean, clearly my mirrors are all bent right out. By God's grace, he didn't damage it, but he caught it, pulled it out, and after a few go-arounds, he realized, he goes, yeah, it makes sense. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. It poured down rain. And it looked like a younger guy. He was an Amazon driver, believe it or not. But it was dark, really dark and blackout.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it was interesting because up until at this point in time, I don't even know how Mark figured out that the truck was hit. I guess he's very
no, I'm just sensitive. Michelle was sleeping like a log. I mean, you just say the words boo and I'm up. I don't sleep soundly. So anyway, and I'm used to that environment in a sense where if there's any movement in the truck, I know. I've had people hit me before. They backed into my trailer, backed into the side of my trailer. It happens in truck stock because unfortunately, in the daytime, it's super simple to get in these trucks off. Obviously, you can see it's really easy, and there's always plenty of space to park in the daytime. But come nighttime, obviously, truck drivers want to go to sleep, so they have a place to sleep. And unfortunately, the truck stops aren't always massive. They're very small, and you got to be. It's like, I backed into the spot I got in there. It was super tight. Actually, I had to get Michelle to assist me to look out on my right side, so I wasn't going to smash into all the other trucks because it was super tight. So she assisted me in that, and I backed it in. We got it in, but that just shows you how tight it is. I could have gotten into it without her help, but I would have had to jump out of the truck 10 different times to see how close I'm getting in. So she more than happy to assist me, and that was good, and I'm glad she was there. But my point was, you see how hard it was. I had to try. I tried maybe like 8 or 10 times to back into the spot to see if I could do it, and I got it in. But my point was, this is a guy in the middle of the night in the pouring rain. Probably his ears are all covered in water. He can't see properly. So that goes to show you. So you got to be on the ball. So it's just a little interesting experience. And of course, by God's grace, there was literally no damage onto my vehicle. He just hit it and pushed it out, and I pulled it back out. So, and that was good. And he drove away after that. I told him I'd guide him in, but he was scared. He literally was shaking, like he was so shocked that he hit me. He was scared. And when I jumped out of the truck, and I don't think he'd been driving long. He looked like a young guy or whatever. So anyway, that was that experience. Trucking 101.
Yeah, it's a lot that you don't consider when you're out there, or when you see other people out there, on the road. It's so many things, and even backing into a small space, a tight space, one lane, when you have 2 trucks on either side, that is tremendous. I mean, the amount of judgment and effort and precision and, oh my gosh.
Depth perception. It's a skill. There's no doubt of it.
Yeah,
but it's an acquired skill. Nobody can teach you. They can teach you the fundamentals of going how to do this, how to do that. But it's a hands-on job. You get better as the years go by, and like anything else. So, and even the best of us. I've been doing it 32 years. We make mistakes. I've done it. I backed into guys' mirrors. I broke a mirror a couple of years ago, and I was in the middle of the daytime. Sadly to say, to my own shame. But one of the reasons that I say it was because I was chronically fatigued. That night I only got an hour and a half sleep because I had all kinds of different appointments. So I was half asleep when I did it, rushed in there, and I bashed into a guy's mirror. And it broke, I didn't break his mirror, I broke the bracket off by doing exactly what that guy did. I just backed in the spot, thought I was in, and I was so tired I didn't even get out. I was too lazy, didn't even get out and look in the mirror. So it happens every day. I saw guys back into spots and tear off the whole front of the hood for guys like that and try to pull out. So stuff happens.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's a new appreciation for all this, the things that you see out there with the trucks and stuff. It's a new appreciation, great appreciation, because it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and especially as he said, if you're tired and you trying to maneuver a huge it's more tropical, not quite tropical, but it doesn't have, they don't have snow really, do they?
No, they don't have snow here.
They have sleet a little bit, but not often.
And that's only, we talked to one of the locals there, and they said that when we were at the Waffle House, and the lady had said
Yesterday.
that she had said that the odd time during the coldest months, being in January and February, they might get a little bit of sleet. She says at night it might go down to like 35, 38 degrees Fahrenheit, that is. And in our language, that's about 4 or 5 Celsius. But she goes, for the most part, every day, even in the middle of the winter, you're looking at about 75, 80 degrees all the time. So that's so nice. Which translates for us, probably about 15 to 20. Like yesterday, I have a gauge. It's 18 Celsius right now. So I talked to my buddy yesterday, and he said yesterday morning in Brampton, or no, I forget where he was. Yeah, maybe it was Ontario somewhere.
Bradford.
Bradford, yeah. It was 1 Celsius. 1 Celsius, and they had the snow machines out, like putting the not the snow machines. What do they call them? The salt machines. They put it blowing calcium, the white calcium, all over the roads, and nobody gets all active. Meanwhile, we're sweating with the air conditioning on.
Yeah. So turn on the light.
Turn on the light. Why?
I'm gonna show you.
Oh.
Okay, so today we're gonna show you where we sleep. So that's where we sleep.
Show them the upper bunk.
And if you see the upper bunk, that opens up, and you can have two.
It's a bunk bed.
Yeah, it's like a bunk bed. Yeah, you can have someone sleeping up there, and then someone sleeping down here. Yeah,
So
that's just a blanket on the thing.
Because this truck is designed what they call for a team operation. So in theory, if my wife and I were running team, literally I'd be driving, and well, that's a bad example, because obviously we'd be sleeping in the same bed. But I mean, like if you're with your buddy and you're working for a company, why you're obviously not going to sleep in the same bed. So he'll sleep up top, you sleep on the bottom, vice versa, and you go down the road, and that's what it's for. But there's no bed up there right now. They've taken it out. Michelle and I just use it for storage, to store all the stuff. And when Michelle's not here, for the most part, it's empty. I don't carry a lot of things. But yeah, show them. Then they have a built-in fridge right there. Yeah. So I have that, and we turn it around. We have our microwave up there. Yeah. And show them down below where the light is on. You see down below where the that's a power inverter. That's how we get the power. So when right now Michelle's charging her laptop, so we're using that. And when I want to use the microwave or anything like that, we have to turn a power inverter on, so I get power at any time. So it's power to cook everything I want. Like I can bring any appliance I want: a toaster oven, a microwave, a grill, like of some sort. Not literally a grill, but you get the point. Like a little burner, like a single or double element burner.
And then that's a closet right there. So he hangs his clothes.
And the other side is deceiving too, because it's another closet. But what it does is when you open it up, kind of like a camper, it pulls out long tray, so you can sit at the bed and have your meal. It brings out, there's a flat surface, you put your meal on it and sit there, just like you are like in a camper.
Yeah, and that's the fridge at the top. And then these are dividers, so they close. So there's one here, and then there's one over this side right here.
Curtains.
Yeah. So what it does, you pull this area right here, the belt, and then it's like a latch. You pull the latch, and then you pull it all the way to each other, so they meet in the center right here. And then
it's a zipper.
and then you zip it all the way down. So
Same premise as like in a tent. They come together, you zip it down,
yeah.
so you have privacy.
So it's really cool because you can actually enclose yourself in, and also it keeps the temperature in, right? So say if you want to have like a warmer or cooler air inside, and then if someone is looking in from like the front coming in, they can't see anything because all of that area is closed off.
Let me see, I'll show you. Which way is showing the camera? Yeah, this is what it looks like in front of my truck. This is what it is gauges and everything, and this is what it looks like from the front. And right there, you see that this part here, that's my logbook. Everything's on electronically, and down there is where my GPS is, and so on. And there's my CB, and that's kind of what it looks like from a driver's point of view.
And this is me enjoying myself.
And that is my wife relaxing. Back to you, Michelle.
This is me relaxing my feet up.
Yes.
Sometimes I have to do that to stretch myself out. And I like this. This kind of gives, say if you want to keep it like the strap a little loose, and you want to like lock it in, so you pull it up, lock it in. Yeah. So that's basically our little environment here. Truck 101 inside the truck. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. It's adventurous. So in 1 minute, so year 2023.
What's
Was
that?
it 2023? Yeah, 2023. We rode in a car, and we rode to Florida, right? It was Mark's car. And 2024 we did the bike trip, and then fall of 2024 we're doing a truck road trip. So we're I don't know what we're gonna do next year.
We're gonna go. I don't know. Maybe we'll go skydiving next year.
Yeah, we were thinking of skydiving, so that's
You
gonna
know what?
be,
Not maybe. We will. We'll go. You don't have to take up lots of time. You just go for a weekend.
yeah.
And we're gonna go do that. We said, that was what the irony when we first met. It was both on our bucket lists. We both wanted to skydive. So I think we're gonna go. We're gonna go on a motorcycle trip next year for sure. But in regards to just doing a bucket list trip, we're gonna go skydiving.
Yeah, skydiving was one of the things that we wanted to do, so we're definitely gonna do that next year. So stay tuned for all the adventures with Mich and Mark.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of good, as he said, when we met, we didn't know that, we had similar bucket lists, items. So when we found out that we had similar interests, that was so great, because I've always wanted to be around someone who, like to do the same things like I do. And I'm an adventurous, as you can see, I'm very adventurous. I'm an adventurous person. So he being an adventurous person as well, he's not a scaredy cat, so it really helps, for us to want to do the same thing. Yeah, and look how beautiful it is out here. That was just an outdoor view of the environment. It's beautiful. It's so nice. All the trees and the sun hitting the trees, and also you have the clouds, because we're on the mountain. We're in the mountain section, so yeah. And there's the elevation right here.
No, it's road signs. That was road signs.
I'm
This is not
saying
the elevation.
No, I'm saying the elevation because we're going up a bit.
Oh.
have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So day 5. Yeah, so on our journey.
And we're probably about, like I said, when we get here, we'll be an hour south of Huntsville, Alabama, which is basically, I think, about a half hour south of Nashville. So potentially, we will be going home today, like somewhere. I'm sure I still have a half a trailer, not half, but about 18 feet left to fill out in the trailer because we go by footage. I have a 53-foot trailer, so the trucking company I work for, like most of them, they try to fill it out, the whole trailer, to make as much money as they possibly can. So we may be laid over, like I'm just making it up. We might say go up to Louisville, Kentucky, and pick up the rest of the trailer for tomorrow morning. Either way, God willing, if everything goes smoothly, we should be home late tomorrow night, and Michelle will make all the videos and upload the videos for all her fun, and she'll edit them and do all the things that make it a nice trip and stuff. And it'll be Michelle's Trucking 101 journey. So anyways, like we like to say, let's keep it real. Bye.
Hi everyone, it's Mich.
And sorry.
It's Mich and Mark. Anyways, I
4x4 car for 8 or 7 straight days. And if you don't come out divorced, you're good. And we survived. Although we're not home yet. Sunday evening. We even this evening. So if you don't hear any videos in the next week, you know we're divorced. But all joking aside, we survived. So we can survive the confines of this little crazy area, and where all the shortcomings of where you can sustain each other in this small area and still live. And especially when I won't be specific, when certain sounds are emanating from the body, and yet we still are married. Shame. Anyhow, moving on to the next topic.
Yeah, but anyways, he's talking about farting, and I know some people may not find it ladylike, right? Because they think that ladies don't do that. Some men anyways, they think that you're a lady, you shouldn't be doing that. You should, well, some would even do that in front of their spouse. But put it this way, we have competitions. Who can do it the loudest? And we're just very open and very we're just being ourselves. And as our slogan says, let's keep it real. We actually do keep it real in our relationship. There's hardly anything that we don't talk about. And like I said, my first impression, I would never ever in a million years dreamt that
She'd be walking by naked as she's coming out of the shower, and as I walk and we cross paths, and she, without missing a beat, not even saying words, she's going her way, I'm going my way, and as she passes me, and doesn't even say it, and then just keeps walking. That's how comfortable we are.
oh my gosh, you're not supposed to hang your dirty laundry outside.
That's real life. People do real life.
Well, also, like I said, we compete. Because yeah, because sometimes you know what he does?
Okay, let's not make this a fart video. Let's just simply say
I know. But guys, you know how some people love to play around. Mark is very playful. He's very sometimes he just does silly things to make me laugh, right? Or he'll do something and then he's like, okay, I'm just blowing it your way. You know, those kind of things that kids do. That's what he does sometimes. So, but we take it as a joke. It's not serious. Just, we just have to respect each other and not do it under the sheets.
There's about 5 stories there, but we won't tell them.
Yeah, just don't do that because it's overwhelming, especially if it's a tight space and there's nowhere to go. That's kind of like, and especially if you eat certain things like beans or whatever, you don't want to do that, guys, because that's not nice.
Yeah, it's kind of, just to be descriptive, it's kind of like, have you ever been walking around your kitchen or something and you see it, you smell something nasty, but you can't quite locate it, and you find it out, and then you don't know what it is, and then all of a sudden you, for whatever reason, you go into one of your side compartments, or you open it up and you open it up and you found it. It's an old piece of chicken that you forgot to put away, and you left it in there for like 3 weeks. That kind of nasty.
Yeah,
You know when you open the lid up and your eyebrows naturally just go and they stay suspended. That's kind of nasty.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like you've seen a rat.
like to laugh. He does things just to make me laugh. And I can't tell you everything that he does because sometimes some of the things are ridiculous and outlandish and embarrassing. But he does a lot of things. You have no idea what it's like. Oh my gosh, I just can't, you know, I don't have words to I'm just speechless right now, just trying to talk about that. But yeah, he's very funny. So because he's always making me laugh, over time I can't just do the little giggle, you know, to respond to the things he does. I end up laughing out loudly, you know, and I mean, I'm done laughing that I'm on the floor and I can't even breathe because it's just overwhelming. It's like I'm laughing and then the laugh can't end because it's like a different levels or different stages of laughing. So that's what he does to me. So if you see my cheeks like always up, that's the reason, because I can't bring them down.
It doesn't even sound good.
Oh my gosh. I did point to these cheeks.
I hope so. Moral of the story is,
yeah,
after 2 years, and remember the difference is, we're not 21 and 22, we're not just new kids. After 2 years of two seasoned adults being married once again in their lives at a different stage in life, we're extremely comfortable. We're making this late in this video, but we're extremely comfortable with each other. We're not reserved in any way. Because we trust each other in the sense that, you know, we're not ashamed of ourselves. We're not ashamed of our bodies. We're not ashamed of anything. And not that there's necessarily, you know, if you have reservations about, say, being naked in front of your spouse or whatever the case, or you have your ups and downs, or, you know, not to get off on a different topic. Some people who, when they get intimate, they gotta have the lights off and all that stuff. That's a personal thing and stuff we address. But what am I getting at is, we're way beyond any of that in the sense that we feel like we've been married for 20 years because we're super, super, super comfortable. And that's my take after 2 years. I mean, I've learned so many different things about Michelle, and I'm continuing to learn, and it's never going to stop. I'm learning newer things every day, and I'm sure Michelle feels the same. You learn about people's different parts of your personality, different parts of things, different parts of how a person emotes, why they emote the way they do, why they act the way they do, and all these things come out, and different circumstances in life bring different things to the table. So that's kind of my take so far.
And also, in light of what he said, being comfortable, it comes from learning, and also from a person actually sharing who they are on the inside. Because you know, I listened to R.C. Sproul once in one of his presentations on couples and how doesn't work when you have two people just acting the same way.
And that's what I got to learn to be better at. I mean, because Michelle knows it firsthand. I'm way too quiet, and I don't say a lot, don't speak a lot during conversation because I often get intimidated by her. So I just like
Okay.
quiet up, and I don't say much. She knows that's true. So she's trying to bring out my inner self, my inner child, but it's not working.
I have a frown right now, and I'm trying to
Hold on, I'm
understand.
sucking my thumb right now.
I don't understand what I just saw or what I heard, but anyways, I'm sure
See
you
what
guys.
happens when the lights go in.
I'm sure you guys know that that's nonsense, because for those of you who know Mark, or those of you who have interacted with him, he doesn't let you have it. No, sorry, he lets you have it. If he believes something or if he thinks something, he's gonna say it. He doesn't care when or how long. He will just share what he has to say because he's very passionate about what he believes, and he thinks for the most part that most of the time he's right. You know, I mean,
Look, back in 1974, I was gone once. I'll give you that. The remaining time, hey, what can I tell you?
but one other thing I like about him though, even though he acts that way most of the time where he, you know, he be passionate and he thinks he's right about it, if he learns that he's wrong, he'll always come back and say, you know, Michelle, you know, I was thinking about it and or I found out that what we were saying the other day or whatever the case may be, and he'll come back and say, you know, I found out that that was not how it goes, or I was wrong, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, or he'll apologize and say, I'm sorry for the way I behave. I know that I didn't behave properly, or whatever the case may be. Not many people are like that, and quite frankly, if you think about it, none of us are perfect. And one of the things that, you know, like I said, people don't understand is sometimes you have some people who are not really showing their true self. And so if you never have a quarrel and you never have a fuss and you never have any issues or conflict or any of that, something is wrong, because either somebody is not being honest with who they really are, hiding something, or just not being a true reflection of who they are. You know what I mean? Like, all of that is like something that you need to consider. Yes, quite frankly, you have some people just play around a lot and have that kind of happy-go-lucky personality. But deep down, they could be going through something. And there's a saying that says that sometimes some people are suffering in silence, right? Behind closed doors, there's something else. But they just don't want to face the reality. They don't want to have a conflict because they don't want to face that. But it's not healthy, because later on it's going to affect you, especially if you don't bring it up. And I know how sometimes, you know, like, especially for women, sometimes a lot of us, we suppress things and we keep it in the back burner. I know I'm guilty of that in the past, and you know, and I mean, but even though, yes, you may not want to address something at a certain time, well, you still need to address it, because if you don't, then it's going to eat at you. So it's important. So these are some of the things that, you know, with Mark and I, we have come to learn about each other in terms of us having good communication opportunities. We always talk. We always, you know, use a lot of time spending time together, quality time, not just quantity. Because if we're just sitting down doing our own thing, that's not quality time, right? Because sometimes you have some people in a marriage, they're there together, but they're not together, you know, right? And he likes to say big up, but he's not saying it right now.
Big up.
Yeah, but it is important to have that opportunity and utilize it. You know, every time you have that opportunity, it's good to interact, and it's good to have that communication. And that's exactly what we're doing here. You know, though yes, it may not be the most perfect environment to do like a road travel, but we get to spend a lot of time together. And 2 years later, here we are.
Big up.
Yeah, here we are.
that's something I'm coming into. I've always been that way, and you know, and be able to speak freely. And Michelle is like that too. I'll give her that. She's a little more reserved than me. I'm sometimes, all joking aside, I say often too much. Sometimes it's good. I'm telling you the opposite. Sometimes it's good just to, you know, be silent. Try to cut your lip or cut it short. You know, and not. You know, I'll be the first one to say sometimes it's not worth dying on every hill, fighting every little thing. There's some things you're just, as I say infrequently, you know, man up and put your helmet on. You know, you just gotta do what you gotta do. So, yeah, you know, I'm rambling, but I mean, there's vital parts of marriage, and you know what? I think probably the most. I'll go out on a limb. Maybe people won't agree with me. I'm not saying it's the only thing, but I'm saying I think it's a primary importance. Communication. Think about communication. What that looks like. Communication with literally words. Communication with love. Communication in transparency. Communication outside the bedroom. Communication inside the bedroom. Communicate. It just goes. The list is endless, and that's what makes. Hey, if you think about it from a fundamental perspective, in general, that's what makes a business grow. Communication with the employees, with the customer, so on and so forth. Like getting feedback. That's so important, you know. And one of the nice things about it is Michelle and I don't really, we're not at a loss to know how the other feels. You know, we often, and it's nice also, be complimentary. You know, be complimentary in a sense on how your wife or how your husband dresses, or the efforts they make to look good for you, or the small things. And that's another key factor, recognizing the little small things. You know, pay attention. You know, no one's perfect. Just in general sense, you know, be like Michelle saying, oh, you didn't recognize my new shirt. Oh no, I didn't. Oh yeah, I just bought it. Oh, okay, you didn't even recall. You know, whatever. I mean, I'm not perfect either. Sometimes I forget stuff, but for the most part, you know, recognizing these small things, and it's an encouragement. And again, see, it's still part of communication. Communicating your thoughts. You don't just think subliminally, oh, my wife looks really nice. I'm so glad she looks hot today for me. Say those words. Say those encouragements. You know, and it helps along the way. So anyways, I could go on for on and on, but I won't. I'm just saying those are just some thoughts. I'm not by no means an expert in marriage. You know, this is my second marriage also, and I made a boatload of mistakes in my first marriage. And that's not the demise of my marriage, but I certainly made tons of mistakes. And complementing that as being a father simultaneously. So, have I made a bunch of mistakes in this marriage? Sure. Nothing to the demise of the relationship, and nothing to injure the relationship, but mistakes in the sense where you're still feeling each other out after only a couple of years, but being seasoned
that were the best of the friends that I have had, but I don't walk around saying this person is my best friend or that person is my best friend. That term is very, I don't like to use that term per se. I have a lot of friends that I can trust and who I can have that close relationship with, and who have been there for me and I've been there for them. And different friends serve different purposes. There are some people who are just encouraging. There are some people who will tell you the truth, right? There are some people who they will drop everything and be there for you at the drop of a hat because they have the time, so you have different friends for different reasons. But at the same time, in a relationship, what I've noticed is that a lot of times where you might see failures that may occur in a husband and wife or spousal relationship, it may be because the couples, they are not friends, and when you're not friends, it's very difficult for that relationship to work, because what is holding you together outside of the intimate part of things,
the superficial things,
and the intimate part of things, because some people may not understand intimacy may not necessarily be just going in the bed doing things, but it could be also just spending that time together. You just be intimate with a person by spending close time together, just cuddling, just sitting down watching TV together. You're being intimate because you're spending close time or warm time, or that sharing emotions, sharing, you're touching, you're doing all that stuff. So anyway, but some people don't have that friendship, so it puts a damage or a strain on the relationship, and that's why a lot of times you find those relationships, even after many years, when the children are gone, they are not able to coexist anymore, because what they were doing, they were just holding on for the kids, and now that the kids are gone, or now that they have lived their lives and probably they're tired of it, they don't want to take it anymore, then they decide to part ways because they were not best of friends. So I do think that that's so important. And sometimes, the thing that may happen in a relationship, it can happen where one person thinks that the person that they're with is their best friend, but it's not reciprocated. So even though you may have maybe one person may think that, oh, this is my best friend, even in regular friends, like girls, guys, sometimes that can happen too. It's one-sided and it's not reciprocated. So when that happens, that will definitely put a strain on the relationship as well. And one person is putting out everything, and then the other person is putting out just a little bit. One person is giving their 100%, and the other one is probably giving 50. And that's why I think even the 50-50, it really doesn't make sense, because if I give 50% of myself to him and he gives 50% of himself to me, that means something is taking away that other 50%. So if I give my all, my 100%, as much as possible, because we're not perfect, and he does the same thing, that's what makes us very close. That's what makes us best friends. And quite frankly, I think that the best opportunity for people to be best friends is when you have a spousal relationship, because you cannot be best friend with a girl if she's not your spouse, or you can't be best friends with a guy if that person is not your spouse, because you're not sharing intimate things with that person. So which means if we're intimate beyond just spending time sitting down talking and all that, that means we're exploring everything with each other. And if we can do that honestly, that person will become your best friend. So I hope it makes sense in what we're saying, but that's something that a lot of people don't think about. And so when they choose partners, they choose people that they're just physically attracted to, but then there's nothing else after that. And once that's done, that part of you is no longer available or feasible, then what do you have left? Nothing. So I think it's something that, you know, people should consider more when they're looking for partners. Always look for somebody you can be yourself with. Look for somebody who is honest with you. You can be honest with that person. That person is your best friend. And that's what we learned earlier on in our years with different relationships. That's what we learned. And that's what we learned, that going forward, it had to be the way we have our relationship. You know, we like the same things. Not that I am like him and he's like me, because we're not alike in its entirety. We have a lot of differences. However, we respect each other and we make it work based on the fundamental parts of our relationship, right? So, which is the most critical thing. Once the fundamental parts are aligned, then you can work with each other, and it's also intentional too. Because if you're just being with somebody and then you just fall into a situation, you're not being intentional. That's why I know some people may not like this term, but people say they fall in love with a person. I think that you are in love with the person because you choose to be in love with that person, because you could have chose somebody else, right? So you only chose that person because the fundamental parts of what you're looking for are aligned, and then you see that you can coexist and you can interact with the person, and then you found out that the person is honest with you, you can be real, all that kind of stuff. So then you made that decision, and now you can make it work because you can be best friends. So going back to that, it is an intentional thing, not necessarily an accidental thing. Though we may think that it was coincidental that we met each other 2 years ago, but we know for sure that it's not so simple for it to be coincidental, because there's so many attributes, especially when you're looking for somebody that needs to be aligned. And it's not easy to find that, but we found it, right? So, you know, we are grateful for the fact that God allowed us to find each other, and there's so many things that we can work with, you know, and we'll spend the rest of our lives working with those attributes and those elements that we know that, you know, makes us stronger together and cause us to have a strong bond. Yeah, so that's my extra.
No, it's fine. You know, even in the truck here when we were, one thing I didn't mention. Well, I mean, it's I didn't have to mention it, but I will mention it because we're on the topic of friendship and all that kind of stuff. I mean, although, well, I'm doing a job out here, Michelle is tagging along to have a quote-unquote unofficial vacation, but it was just time to spend. She took her time. I wouldn't call it a vacation, but she took the time to come and stay with me. She could have stayed home and relaxed at home, and she could, you know, at home you could find a million things to do. There's always something to do. But having said all that, even in the midst of, you know, her being out here and experiencing all these different things, I remember specifically one, it was probably ago, 2 or 3 days ago, either way, but we were parking for the evening, and it was relatively early, meaning around, you know, 8 o'clock-ish, maybe 9 o'clock-ish, whatever, and it was pouring down rain. So what did we do? We capitalized on that. I went back in the bunk, and I turned on Netflix, and I said, hey honey, let's go. It's really romantic out. It's pouring rain, it's nice and toasty warm in here. Let's go watch a movie together. And we just snuggled. We literally watched the movie and snuggled on the phone. I have a regular phone, and we watched the movie. That it was kind of like a comedy romance thing, whatever. But anyways, regardless of what it was, is we enjoyed the time together, and it was an opportunity of intimacy, not sexually, but just simply in the realm of friendship. We had an opportunity to be together, snuggle together. You know, Michelle just laid her head on my chest while we watched the movie, and that's what we did. So I say all that just to simply say, didn't have to do that. She could have went. She likes to play a little. We're competitive, so we have these little video games just said, I could have just left Michelle alone and let her do her thing. She would have been happy watching her videos and stuff, and I could do my thing. But we did something together, and we capitalized on the time, in the midst of it. So I just say that to say that's reminiscent of life even life at home, especially doing a job like I have, because I don't get the luxury of being home, working 9 to 5, but being home 7 days a week. And I don't complain about it because I like the lifestyle. Often people will say, "Oh my, that must be so lonely for Michelle, or so lonely for you, or for you both." And not really. I mean, lonely in the sense that, like example, I'd say, "Oh wow, I miss my wife. I can't wait to go home and see my wife." But I'm not here in great pain, laying in my bunk in the fetal position, crying. Nor is my wife's doing the same thing at home. But it's like missing someone good, and we get it. We capitalize on it, so we get to enjoy each other more intimately when we do come home. Because I haven't been under her feet, and that's one of the demises actually of a lot of relationships. Because people are around, if you understand what I mean, they're around each other with no break, 24 hours a day, every day of the week. Nothing changes. Same old. All things are the same, and you don't get a chance to miss each other. So it's a vital element. I'm not recommending people live this lifestyle. I'm just simply saying that it's not conducive to a standard garden variety relationship. But we benefit on it. We capitalize on our time, and that's one of the nice parts about it. When I do come home, we capitalize on just that, taking the time out to spend quality time with each other. Now, granted, we don't have young children that are occupying our time and grabbing at us and all that kind of stuff, so we can't really speak to that life anymore. Our children are all grown up and gone. But what we do is, when we do come home, we don't live separate lives. And even if I was living a 9 to 5 life, we don't live separate lives. I don't have my friends, she has her friends, she does her thing, and maybe once or twice a month we'll go watch a movie together or something, and that's the height of it. That's a lot of marriages. And that's why a lot of them are shallow, no depth whatsoever, no communication, and that's why they're wondering. They don't even know where they are in their marriage. We often do it. So that's just something we do. I'm not saying that's something that everybody should do. We like it, we enjoy it. So I thought I would just bring that point up before we close. It's just capitalizing on those intimate moments and making time. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be hanging out in the grill in Jamaica on a vacation to have an amazing time with your spouse. It could simply be, hey, want to do something crazy today? Hey, let's go bowling. We haven't bowled in like 25 years. Oh, okay, sounds great. Or let's go play mini putt today. Or hey, let's whatever. Fill in the blank of what you and your spouse like, and it works out. So just a thought, and then I'll end with that.
Yeah, so we just wanted to share, in a synopsis of what makes it work for us for the last 2 years, ever since we met, and how that differs from what we started out with when we met, post meeting and post marriage. So we're just celebrating 2 years of knowing each other, and man, it's been a ride. And we give God thanks for giving us this opportunity, and we're not wasting it, we're utilizing it
Can I
as much
interrupt
as
for a
possible.
moment? Shout out to Waffle House. I'm looking for a shameless sponsor. Waffle House, you got to sponsor me. I spend at least $1 million a year of my hard-earned money. That's it.
Yeah, Mark loves to talk about money. He doesn't have so much of a love of money, but he likes to make money, which is good. No harm in that.
That was a joke. When do I ever talk about making money? I never talked about making money.
I know. But
You just made me look like some greedy guy.
No, you're not. You're not greedy. No, Mark just likes to.
I don't talk about money at all, to be honest. I am a hard worker. We're both workaholics. We like the the word workaholics. I don't even like the term anymore. Someone who is a workaholic is someone who is robbing the other one of quality time because of their insatiable need to keep working for the love of money, or they've allowed their lives to get out of control where they're in debt up to eyeballs, and all they do is work. And when your wife says to you, oh, next weekend can we go to Sally's house and go to that party? Like, no, I'm working. Oh, okay. In other words, you just brush your spouse off because you're all about you That's a workaholic.
Yeah,
both my wife and I, we work. We love. Here's the here. We love what we do. We love to work. It's a blessing to be able to work and do those kind of things. So I'm not a workaholic. My wife is not left wanting because I'm so caught up in me and all my wants and needs and my desires, pursuing all my dreams, that she's left in the dust, and vice versa. She always makes the point of making, and often I'll do the same too. I'm not as good at it as she is in regards to planning for the future, like, oh, in 2 weeks from now we should go here and do this. Often I leave it up to Michelle to say, hey, want to do that next week, or we should do that. We do that. But my point of saying all that is just to comment on that whole workaholic thing. If your spouse, either female, male or female, if your spouse is lacking and wanting, and it's because of your selfish pursuits, then yes, you are a workaholic, and that's something you need to address.
So we both love working, and even to the point where I've always said that I don't know if I would be early retiree, because I don't want to just sit home doing nothing, but anyway, that's another story. But yeah, so we do enjoy it. I do a lot of work, I do, but as he said, I always spend time with my husband, and that's something that women need to learn, that just because your husband may not say anything or probably look like he needs that time, but we need to spend time with our husbands, and vice versa. A husband needs to know that your wife need that kind of touch, because women need touch more than men do. We need to be held, and that also.
Let me interrupt. I don't agree. I don't agree
general
with that.
sense.
But you can't generalize. You can't generalize, because every man is different. Yes, the macho man that I'm so tough. I don't hold my hand. I'm too macho.
Not like that. Not like that.
But there are men like that they're cold and callous and don't want intimacy. The only type of what they call intimacy is sex. That's it. They don't want to hold your hand. They don't want to be affectionate. I'm that. I love getting attention from my wife. I mean, in the realm of affection and things of that nature. So that I definitely.
Yeah, you're very different from a general.
I'm not. I know what you meant. You're right. There are men who are like just what you said. They don't care whether their wives kiss them, hug them once a year if they're lucky. They don't care. I'm not one of those guys.
Yeah.
I admit
Mark is very different.
I'm above the norm in that sense. I know not every guy is like that, but
Mark is very rare, very rare. He's not a typical, and it doesn't mean in a bad way. It's in a good way. He's not the typical guy out there that it can fit into a typical mold. He's not like that at all. So I mean, when I say that, I mean like most women compared to most men, they need emotional support. Most women more than men. But there's different guys who are like Mark, who also desire that as well, but he's not a typical man out there, like, because you have like the average man. It's just like as a truck driver too, the average man, a lot of times their marriages are going AY because they sleep around, or they're having women in different cities and all that kind of stuff. He's not like that, because as a matter of fact, it would be weird even for him to be able to do that. And why I say that is because we spend so much time on the phone or talking or video chatting. That's more of his preference than having 10 different women all over the place. That's not his.
No, you're explaining it all wrong.
No, but some guys.
I know what you're saying, but you're saying
I don't know how to
instead
explain.
of having 10 women, I'd rather hang out with my wife. I don't know.
Not like that. No, you don't have. In other words, like some guys.
I don't have a desire to do. I mean, no. Let's get. We're getting off on a. Our marriage is good that way. The reality is, I know what Michelle is trying to say. I'm not a typical guy, but she's not a typical woman. The reality at the end of the day is, we're two people trying to live a godly life and trying to honor the Lord with the decisions we make, and investing in our husband, investing in our wife, and doing it that way. That what she's trying to say, I know what she's trying to say. She's just trying to say that I'm
in a
not,
diplomatic way, I'm trying to
that's
say.
below me to want to live like that or even have a desire like that. But it goes both ways. You know, I'm away from work all week. I don't know where Michelle is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't know who she talks to when I'm not around, blah, 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 blah. So it goes without saying. So that goes back to that core foundation of communication and trust. She's never given me a reason to not trust her, never given me a reason to question where she is, what she's doing. We don't rifle through each other's phone every 30 seconds to go see what's been going on. I'm not saying that's not necessarily healthy in today's modern age, where you should know what your wife looks at, you should know what your husband looks at, you should know who's on their contact list and so on and so on. That's all a conversation of another day, but absolutely, yeah. I'm in agreement with that.
And also, even to the point where I can say this one thing I noticed from when the first day when I met Mark, after we met, he said something to me and I thought that was so profound. The day he met me, he disconnected himself from all other perspectives, right? Because he said he can only work with one person at a time. He can't be dating, trying to figure out, oh, is this gonna work or here, or is it gonna work over there, or is it gonna work yonder, or all of it, you know what I mean? Like some guys would do that, but they won't say that. And another thing, and not because he said it, because some people can say something and it's not true. The fact that he doesn't have a password on his phone. He doesn't have a password, and our phones, we are allowed, you know, it's not to say we're allowed, but he can pick up my phone, answer my call. I can pick up his phone, answer his call, or send a text on his behalf.
I'm sure you have a password on your phone, and I don't even know it.
No, but when somebody called me, my phone is not like under my arm or in my pocket or somewhere where you are not exposed to it. Like some people, their spouse would never ever be alone with their phone. That's something that they just don't do. But in terms of, you can pick up my phone anytime and say, oh, Michelle, you got a call. This person is calling you.
That's true.
Or whatever.
We're getting off into a different
No, but
topic.
this is 2 years after though. These are some of the things that may happen in relationships that also cause problems because people are keeping secrets and people are keeping.
Well, that's
things.
one thing, and I can say in a testament to Michelle is simply that I would commenting back on what we were talking about being a workaholic. I've never been in the 2 years that I've known her. I've never felt neglected. I've never felt like she's got time for other people but not me. She's got too much time for other people but not me. Or she makes no concerted effort to spend time. None of the above. None of the above. Sometimes she gets overwhelmed with work. Well, I'll have to cue in sometimes and say, you know, hypothetically, Michelle, come on, it's like 8 o'clock, you're still playing on the computer. You said you wanted to watch a movie, let's get going. She's like, okay, one more minute. Sometimes she gets behind, but it's not a matter, she doesn't want to be with me or neglect me. She gets caught up in the work because she wears a lot of hats, man. She's doing a lot of things. We don't need to get into all that, but she does a lot of things. So other than that, there's never been a time where that I've ever felt neglected. And that's another reason why I allow her the grace to plan our weeks, and because of the nature of my job and stuff, I'm laser focused on what I'm doing out here, and I got stuff to do, and because this job kind of is unpredictable, because I don't know when I'm getting home. I could leave on a Monday, be back on a Tuesday night. I could leave on a Monday and not come back until the following Monday, because maybe I'll break down. But my point in saying all that is that I leave it up to her to say, hey, you want to do this weekend? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Or make a point. And sometimes we'll say, I'll say to her, what do you want to do this weekend? She's like, nothing. Let's just stay home and relax. And we didn't spend much time with each other this week because I was busy doing my jobs and you were doing yours. So let's just, curl up on the couch and watch a few movies and go out to dinner tonight. Okay, that's great. And that's what I'm referencing. Quality time, seizing the moments, and communicating. That's the key, communicating. So that's what I can go on forever, she can go on forever, but that's what we've done in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
we're going to end the video then.
Yeah, so that's it for now, folks. And so I hope if, apart from us just sharing, I hope it can help somebody, because it's not just about just saying, oh, this is what we do, and so you can know what we are doing, but also just
we got to go quick.
Yeah, so anyway, guys, that's all for now. So as usual, we say, let's keep it real.